Daily national weather impacts. December 5th, 2025. The nation is partitioned this morning between an active northwest flow over the western third of the CONUS and a more moist, slow-moving southern branch over the southeast. While much of the central and northeastern U.S. is under the influence of a transient trough/front complex that will determine ceilings and wintry risks later today and tonight. For flight ops, concentrate on three big themes: mountain snow and strong gusts in the Rockies and Cascades, widespread low ceilings and rain-steady showers across the deep south into central Georgia, with IFR locked in around Atlanta early, and low-cloud fog hazards near many coastal and inland valley terminals from California up through the Pacific Northwest that will bite at morning departures and arrivals. Out west, northwest flow aloft is extracting several shortwaves into the Pacific Northwest and the northern Rockies. The Cascades and northern Washington passes are already seeing moderate to heavy precipitation, with snow levels falling this afternoon into the evening, and gusty barrier and gap winds through the mountain passes and Puget Sound. Expect LIFR/IFR ceilings and reduced visibilities at Pacific Northwest terminals this morning, and gusty S-SW winds into the evening that will keep approaches and ground operations challenging. In Colorado, the focus is orographic enhancement on the western slopes and mountain corridors, where a wind-driven snow event is likely tonight into the weekend. Mountain passes along the I-70 corridor will see the highest travel impacts, with blowing snow and strong crosswinds that will complicate alternate planning and diversion options, even if MetroDen stays primarily VFR today. In short, plan for solid mountain impacts and intermittent west side terminal restrictions in the Cascades and Rockies. Across the plains in the Midwest, the pattern is colder with an approaching clipper and tightening pressure gradient. Chicago and surrounding Great Lakes terminals will feel the bite of colder air and gusty SSW winds today, with a risk of MVFR lowering to brief IFR/MVFR tonight, as a frontal zone brings light snow and the potential for freezing drizzle in narrow bands. Expect gusts this afternoon into the evening that may impact ground de-icing ops and ramp movement. Crews should anticipate possible brief arrival delays and plan fuel just hold contingencies accordingly. Further south in the Central Plains, the frontal push remains fairly dry today, but increasing low-level ascent tonight will be the mechanism for the first wave of light wintry precipitation across parts of the upper Midwest after dark. The Southeast and Gulf Corridor are in a markedly different regime. A stream of subtropical moisture combined with embedded shortwaves is feeding a multi-round rainfall signal over central and southern Georgia and parts of the northern Gulf Coast. Atlanta and much of central Georgia are reporting widespread IFR to LIFR ceilings this morning, with persistent drizzle and light rain expected through the daytime period. Confidence is high for low ceilings and light precipitation that will suppress surface temperatures and produce prolonged instrument approaches and potential low visibility taxi operations. Coastal Florida is currently under a more benign, high-pressure dominated air mass, but with a shallow inversion and light winds that supports pockets of patchy to dense morning fog across interior and southwest Florida. That has a tendency to overperform, so morning dispatchers should monitor observed visibilities for short-notice delays or low-vis breaks. Offshore, Gulf waters are quiet today, but the frontal boundary north of the peninsula will be the focus for increasing rain chances this weekend. Up the eastern seaboard, a weak coastal trough and incoming frontal influence are producing a tricky thermodynamic setup near the coast. Metro New York and parts of Long Island should expect VFR through the daytime, but a transition to MVFR or localized IFR is possible later tonight into early Saturday with a low probability mix of light snow, freezing drizzle, or very light freezing rain near the immediate coast where surface temperatures hover near freezing. This is not a heavy QPF event, but the P-type uncertainty and low ceilings require attention for night operations and for crews planning early morning flights Saturday. New England and the mid-Atlantic interior remain cool and generally dry at present, aside from localized low ceilings. Finally, California and the Bay Area present two small but important operational headaches this morning. Southern California is largely benign with high confidence in VFR at LAX and inland fields through the day, although a shallow marine layer and a low chance of morning dense fog pockets near the immediate coast remain possible. The Bay Area is under radiational cooling in a ridge-dominated pattern and has pockets of Tule and valley fog this morning. Dense fog advisories for interior East Bay valleys are already in effect, and visibilities will be highly variable. San Francisco approaches are expected to remain VFR through most of the daytime period, but bridge approach and local satellite fields should be watched for low stratus returning overnight. In short, expect benign coastal and valley fog impacts rather than convective or icing threats across California today. Operational takeaways are straightforward. Treat the western mountain corridors and the Pacific Northwest as your highest impact zones for terrain-related closures and wind-driven snow. Treat Atlanta and central Georgia as the primary low-ceiling, low-visibility operational area for the southeast today. Treat Chicago and the upper Midwest as the main terminals with potential brief wintry restrictions and gusty winds this evening. For coastal hub operations, anticipate patchy to dense early morning fog in interior valleys from the Bay Area through parts of Florida, and LIFR/IFR conditions in the Pacific Northwest this morning that improve only slowly. Monitor terminal METARs and TAF amendments closely. Prioritize alternates with higher minima where low ceilings are forecast, and factor longer than normal taxi and de-icing times where gusty winds, cold temperatures, or light snow are expected.